We have a tight program, and understanding the conditions, we would like to start on time. As a matter of fact, this platform is a new platform, and I think we have to let everybody know, expect that we will start on time for the future. So I want to ask Chayati to come and start.
Namaskar everyone. Welcome to the Sri Ram Vijay Mandir at Prachaar Kendra in Jalibia Trees, Raganan Road, Enterprise, Trinidad. And my name is Chaya Maraj. I have the honor of introducing our chairwoman to the program, Anjali Ramsuk. She has served as the secretary for this event. And I have known Anjali for being very brave and very free-spirited from a very young age. And even growing up as a child throughout the Heritage Vacation course, this is the first time Anjali is having to host a program. So go easy on her. And Anjali, she is a Form 6 student and she hopes to pursue law. I hope you enjoy the proceedings of this evening, and let's give Anjali a very warm welcome.
Okay. Namaskar everyone, and welcome to our Ancestral Agenda 2. My name is Anjali, and I am privileged to chair this unique event. I'm going to be telling you all today our procession and how everything will roll. Firstly, we will begin with Open Pratna, performed by Chief Ricardo Bharat of the First People, followed by Baba Ogun Bo Ali of the ancient Orisa faith, and thirdly by D2G of the ancient Sanatana Dharma. After which, we will have the facilitation of Srimati Rukmini Ji for receiving a National Award for Culture in 2023 by our HPC President, and of the Prachaar Kendra, Sri Rajan Bhagwat Ji. After which, our Gurupita Ravi Ji will share thoughts in the Ancestral Agenda and introduce our esteemed featured guest speaker. And after that, we will have an open discussion managed by Lakpaji, the resident sadhu at Kendra. Following that, we'll have a first report by Baba Oba Kitama of Success Village, Lavantil. Then closing statements by our chief guest after listening to some local voices, Professor Yashwant Pathak. Sri Raviji will place a resolution before the Honorable Assembly for consideration. Aya Aintu Springer, a well-known elder of TNT, will offer a prayer for the youths lost by our nation by violence. Thank you very much, and I will pass you on to the opening pratna by Chief Ricardo Bharat.
Brothers and sisters, I greet you with the indigenous greeting, Sato Rikan, Sato Kasakabo Mabrika. We call on Tamushi, Adayali Wachinachi. I will first like to recognize Ravi Ji and the others at the head table, the distinguished guests who are here. I see Sister Pearl and others who have come. I want to express thanks for the very kind invitation to be part of your discourse here today. And we have visiting with us some delegates from Suriname. As you know, we are about to celebrate our Indigenous Week, starting from tomorrow. And so since they are here, I will give the brother here from the Lokono Nation, or the Arawak Nation of Suriname, the opportunity to say the prayer in Lokono. So, brother.
Bless us. Bless it. Wakoya ba adayali? Toka sa kanatur Dharma mong wausamo harang matali adayali banalo ko. Busikala wakwa sa tolwa tatako na kainiko. Sarabashki wamung ning harang to oda kilibe to ayobe to adayali wachinachi. Sareng bujinama wakwa loko to Trinidad kondo waria ning beto kakata aba ni kakata to hororo jakobe. To adayali to wachinachi. Sanway. Sabato kahiaro bosayumoro. Sabato kahiaro bosayumoro. Andayali maro bosayumoro. Andayali maro bosayumoro. Dharma chiki lokoji bausa te warrior. Dharma chiki lokoji bausa te warrior. Toa ebirachi wa kobrokotwa bo. Toa ebirachi wa kobrokotwa bo. Biba, we. Biba, we. Koi wari kadiram, biba, we. Koi wari kadiram, biba, we. Saraba, osani. Saraba, osani. Aba wo chikafa sato wakata. Aba wo chikafa sato wakata. Beba de. Sanwa shikato hama to ajang to adayali kona. Sanway. Hey, baby, dwa to ajang bichibe.
So we give thanks to the Great Spirit, Tamushi Adayali Wachinachi. We pay obeisance to that Creator that is without form and that who takes form from time to time. We pay obeisance to all the deities that are in this space. And we bow and ask for the blessings. As we were placed upon Mother Earth, we reverence the Great Spirit and those great angels of the heavens. So we send our prayer from earth to heaven, and from heaven we ask for blessings. And we ask of the guardian spirits, those of the east, those of the west, those of the north, and those of the south, for their blessings and guidance. Ehei, Papa, Tamushi, Adayali, Wachinachi, ehei.
Now we will have the Ifa Orisa Baba Ogun Bo Ali to perform his ritual.
Aburo, Aboye, Aboshishe. Baba, Professor, Raviji, other members of the Karina community, Mabreka, Namastar, Alafia, those of the Orisa community. I beg leave and permission of Olodumare, Obamo, Jiki Jiki, Obatine Lege Lege for Orisa Peji, the unfathomable one, owner of the universe, he who knows all things, seen and unseen, known and unknown. In our tradition, we do a call and response. In our libation, in our opening prayer, give praise and thanks. We say Iba to Olodumare, the owner of the universe. We say Iba to the Himalayas, all the creations of Olodumare. We say Iba to the spirits of the east, the spirits of the west, spirits of the north, and the spirits of the south. We give praise and thanks for all our ancestors, individual and collective. We give praise and thanks and we say Iba to the mothers. We give thanks and we say Iba to the fathers. We say Iba to children, those born, those unborn. We ask Olodumare to open the door for us. Shileku Fuwa Olua. Shileku Fuwa Olua. Shileku Fuwa Olua. Iwolo niwa, iwolo niwa, iwolo niwa, iwolo niwa, mashedawanu, mashedawanu, shileku fuwao, shileku fuwa. Open the door for us, O Lord, open the door for us, O Lord. Never give up on us, O Lord. Open the door for us. Hey, Yarawa, Yarawa, oh. Hey, Yarawa. Hey, Yarawa, Yarawa, oh. Ko jakiriwa shire dilongo. Adilojo nije nijo Yarawa. Ko jakiriwa shire dilongo. Hey, Yarawa, Yarawa, oh. Hey, Yarawa. Hey yawa, yawa, hey yawa, koje kiriwa shire dilogno, adilojo nije nijo yarawa, koje kiriwa shire dilogno, koje kiriwa shire dilogno, koje kiriwa shire dilogno. Baba wati mbe ileo, Baba wati mbe, Baba wati mbe ileo, Baba wati mbe ileo, la ye, la o, la ye. Babawa timbe, oh Babawa timbe, oh Babawa timbe, oh. We give praise and thanks to Olodumare for yesterday, for today, and tomorrow. We ask that Olodumare bless the custodian of this space, those who worked hard to bring this space to the condition that it is in today. We give praise and thanks, and we give thanks for all those who traveled safely to this compound for this celebration today. We pray that Olodumare will give all those who are on their way, traveling mercies, so that they will arrive here safely. We ask for blessings for all those who have arrived, for those who have left their families, who have left their homes, that all will be well with their homes when they return. We ask for blessings that Olodumare will give us long life, will give us good companions, will give us good memories, will give us good celebrations each year. We pray just as we were here last year and we lived to come and see another year, we pray that we will live to see another year. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
I would now like to ask Neetu Ji of the Sanatana Dharma to say her pratna for us.
I meditate to the Paramatma through my Bindu, so that when my time comes to leave this world, I may go to that Paramatma. Jyoti Bindu Paramatma se ऐ मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन, अब चल कर ले मिलन। परमानंद का अनुभव कर तू, परमानंद का अनुभव कर तू, धन्य बना जीवन। ज्योति बिंदु, ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से, ऐ मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन। प्रभु की प्राप्ति का मूल मंत्र है संपूर्ण समर्पण। ऐ आत्मा चल प्रभु की सौंप दे तू सारा जीवन। देख प्रभु तेरी निकट विराजे, देख प्रभु तेरी निकट विराजे, कर ले अभिवादन। ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से, ऐ मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन। ज्योति बिंदु, ज्योति बिंदु।
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the Swagatam, or the welcome and facilitation. Can Sri Rajan Bhagwat Ji, the Vice President of the Hindu Prachaar Kendra, please come to the front in order to facilitate Srimati Rukmini Bipat for receiving the National Award for Culture of 2023, please.
Namaskar, Sitaram, Pailagi to my elders and children of ancient and noble culture, children of the sugarcane. On this evening of Pitri Paksha, the ancestral agenda, it is my honor to give a brief tribute touching a living legend among us, Srimati Rukmini Holas Bipat, former primary school teacher, a mother, grandmother, singer, writer, and lecturer. Rukmini came on the scene like the rising sun, dispelling the mist and darkness of encroachment when the local chutney music threatened to displace the traditional Bhojpuri culture. She has worked tirelessly to fulfill her passion of preserving the legacy handed down to us by our ancestors and to her by her parents. She has done her research and catalogued her findings into her books on the Hindu wedding, the rites and rituals of the funeral service, and the Upanayam Sanskar, the sacred thread ceremony. Along with these writings are CDs with the appropriate traditional songs for each occasion. With her group, Sangeet Milan, Rukmini has performed at many occasions in Trinidad and Tobago. She has taken up the task of teaching these songs in various mandirs and schools at her home base, the Bipat Ranch in Londonville. While paying tribute to Rukmini ji for her meritorious service to community and nation, I also wish to commend the National Awards Committee for recognizing her sacrifice, her puja, her yagna in this her Hanumanian undertaking. Rukmini ji, when your talents were awakened, when you were called, you accepted the challenge and took it to a higher plane. We of the Hindu Prachaar Kendra, the Hindu community, the nation are beneficiaries of your work and toil. On being awarded the Hummingbird Medal Gold for long and devoted service to culture and education, note it's both culture and education. She was a teacher and now a performer, a writer, a singer. It means that our authorities have recognized that Rukmini ji is not stationary. If she was stationary, she should have been given a shakonia. That way you get the beauty and scent only in one area. Being given a hummingbird medal means that she can flit her talents from place to place. Yep. So Rukmini ji, I would like to invite you to join me at the front. On behalf of our President, Geeta Vahini ji, who is in India on Kendra's business, the executive and members of the Hindu Prachaar Kendra, congratulations on your achievement. I now invite all present to be upstanding and to raise your hands in the tradition of the Kendra. You all beat me to it. I was now going to say, and extend a heartfelt warm to Rukmini ji. May her work continue to be appreciated and her motivation and Dharma continue to propel her to excellence. Thank you all.
Now we will have our Guru Pita Raviji to present a token of appreciation to Chief Ricardo Bharat Fist and then Baba Ugan Ali. To Baba Ugan Ali and Professor G. I would also ask Raviji to give a token of appreciation to our guest speaker, Professor Yashwant Pathak. Now, Raviji, don't sit down yet. Raviji will now introduce our featured speaker, Professor Yashwant Pathak, to the audience.
Namaskar. Jai Shri Ram. Har Har Mahadev. Thank you for your presence. This is the second year of the Ancestral Agenda. Before I introduce our featured speaker today, I have a responsibility to outline why we are here and in what context we have invited Professor Yashwant Pathak. The Heritage Institute across there, where this program was supposed to take place, and Professor Narayan Singh warned me not to do that because of the heat, and we might have some elders sitting here when he heard that Sister Into Springer was coming. So please come inside and give us some air condition. So this is the second installment of the Ancestral Agenda, a term that we are finding very, very useful to bring people together from across the peoples who were paganized. This year, we host Professor Yashwant Pathak, Sangha Prachalak previously for several years, and who has returned to academics, now as Dean of Pharmacology in the University of South Florida at USA. Currently, he is promoting an important and exciting field which brings together all Dharmika and Indigenous faiths and traditions together. He will be in Trinidad from October 3 to 8, 2023, with sundry obligations. On Saturday, we will have him here. All these groups that we mention here share systems, worldviews, and common experiences that are critically necessary for the crumbling world order. Internationally, there are noticeable movement towards these ancient systems. Besides the kind of barricades that were set up. And it demonstrates a natural yearning of the human civilizations to move to something that was tried and tested but disregarded. Here is an opportunity, therefore, to acquaint ourselves with what we were and what we are at once. Ancient, yet at the cutting edge of contemporary needs. I am anxious for you to acquaint yourself with these worldviews. Hence, last year, Ancestral Agenda 1 and 2, Ancestor Agenda number 2. At the end, we will also bring to this August Assembly an important resolution. And we'll talk about that later. Thank you very much. I now invite Professor Maniniya Yashwant Pathak ji to address you. Thank you.
Hari Om and Namaste to everyone. It is such a great pleasure to see my sister here, N2 Pearl Springer, and my brother Ricardo Bharat Hernandez after several years. And it has brought great memories to my mind and how we spent time together back in Bharat when they visited for this ICCS conference, which I am going to tell you a little bit about it. I just want to create an image in front of you that a person comes out of house and then takes little bit of water and then stands in front of the sun and offers it to sun, saying that, "Oh Lord Sun, give us as much heat we really need, and rest of the extra heat you get cooled down with this water we are offering to you." That's an oblation provided to Lord Sun. Now you must be thinking that somebody on the banks of Ganges, Mother Ganga doing, and some Bhagwa guy wearing this thing and offering it. No, that's not true. It is a tradition which is practiced in many African traditions, offering the water to Lord Sun. And this type of traditions have been going on and on and on. The reason is, as the science is now developing newer techniques, understanding how old is the humanity, it's becoming more and more we know, because recently I was in South Africa and I witnessed 60,000 years old skeleton of an African who was buried there, and he was carrying lot of stuff with him, the earth, herbal drugs and food, grains and everything, they were found there. 60,000 years carbon dated. And I assure you, because when I started working, I am a scientist by profession, so we used to use a small technique. Nowadays, people were going with microparticles, they went with nanoparticles, and now they are going with picoparticles. And these picoparticles are going to revolutionize the whole world of science, but it is also going to give a status and a strength to the ancient traditions of the world. Because what we were telling for thousands of years is now getting proven by the science. And this is a great thing happening for all the ancient traditions around the world. And I will share with you that, all of us, whether we are Arawaks from Suriname or Sioux from Native America, South Dakota nowadays they are there, Cherokees are there are Maasais, there are Asante, there are Yorubas, there are Maoris in New Zealand, there are Australian Aboriginals, there are indigenous people all over the world, there are pagan traditions in Europe, we all met a lot of them, all of them are coming in 2024. All of them, all these ancient traditions before Christianity were almost thinking alike. They used to think that there are always gods and goddesses. God is not gender biased, it's not only a male god, but there were goddesses practiced and prayed by all the world. Then there were relationships to the God. We never ever needed a mediator. We need not have a mediator to tell, can we take this and send my message to the God? Never happened. We had a direct relationship with the God. We said, "Oh God," and that's why when you go to Africa, you will love it, because African people, when they go to the God's den, they don't go empty-handed. They always carry something with them, cola nut or a wine bottle or a chicken or something like, offer it to God. And then say, "God, take this and take care of me." It's a relationship, it's a human relationship. So, all the ancient traditions around the world had a human relationship with God. We never needed a mediator. We never needed anybody to tell, "Oh, you give me your prayers and I will send it to God, and then He will send it to me and I will convey it to you." We never wanted that. We had our direct connection with that. And how that connection was established? Because all these traditions used to look for, who am I? In Sanskrit we say ko aham, who am I? And then what happens is, you are born. Do you have a choice to pick up a name? No, somebody else gives you name. You have no choice to pick up the parents also. God decides who should be your parents. And that's how your identity is changing over the period of time. Correct? Every one of us gets certain identity. You are a nickname. The moment that kid becomes in elementary school, he tells the mom, "Don't call me by that name. because all my friends make fun of me. But as soon as the friends have gone, the kid will come to mom and say, please call me that name only, because that identity. And this identity changes over the period of time. And I always make a joke, I say that the father who is so strict to the children, as soon as he becomes grandfather, he spoils the grandchildren. He spoils it. And then I look at my grandfather and I say, look at my father and I say, Dad, you used to beat me. In India, we have a democracy. So we believe in slapping, so people stay in line. That is our democracy. We believe in that. So I used to ask my father, Dad, what are you doing? You are spoiling my kid. He said, he's my grandkid. That's my right. His identity is changed. And this is how we keep on saying, who am I? Who am I? Not this, not this. As we grow older, we keep on saying, not this is not me, this is not me, this is not me. I remember when I got my PhD awarded, people used to say, Yashwant Pathak. I said, excuse me, call me Dr. Pathak. I have earned it. But now I don't know where is my PhD certificate, because that doesn't make me any human being. It's changed. So who am I, who am I, who am I? And finally our forefathers said, Brahmasmi. I am the consciousness which exists in me. But then we did not stop there. We said, Ubuntu, I am here because of you. If you are not here, I am not there. So what you carry as a consciousness, I carry the same consciousness. So Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman, or I am the ultimate spirit which I carry here, and you also carry the same spirit. So obviously every action we will do has to be expressed in such a way that I will do good for everyone. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita or in Ramayana or in Mahabharata, without blinking our eyes, our forefathers said, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Let us do good, well-being for everyone. Without blinking our eyes, whether you go in any country around the world, in every temple, we sing a prayer. And that prayer is absolutely applicable to total humanity. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, let everybody be happy. Sarve santu niramaya, let everybody be healthy. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, let us see only positives around us. The moment you start seeing negative, you become a negative person, you are useless for the society. The moment you become negative, you are useless. You are no good for the society. And sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Nobody should get pain. Nobody should get sorrowfulness. Nobody should be sad. And these are the prayers, not only in Hindu tradition, but these are the prayers all over the world. All ancient traditions have these prayers. The Yoruba, there is a Igbo tradition in West Africa. There they say a beautiful proverb. They say that even the blade of grass doesn't move its head without the permission of God. Who the hell you are? You think that I am doing it. God gives you a lesson and then you realize, no, God, please save my life. The blade of grass cannot change its head without the permission of God. In African tradition, they say, you don't have to show the God to the children. Children have to realize the God. There is a concept of realization which has been existing in all the Native Americans, African traditions, Maori traditions, everywhere. Not only that, we all belong to the concept of traditional wisdom which said, we need to respect our elders. And there is a nice joke. In Native American, some of the Native Americans from America, they were interacting with the white people. They always make fun of them. So the white person was asking, what are these elders? So the Native American was very smart. He said, brother, you become older and useless. We become old and elder and wise and very useful to the society. Our elders are very useful to the society. Your elders are nursing home, dying there without any relations around them. So wise, we take care of our elder people. And this is where the relationship with our families, our strong families and the clans. In Ghana, They wait for 6 months. And even today the modern science cannot keep a dead body fresh, but in Ghanaian people keep the dead body 6 months with herbal medicines. They use. They keep it. The science has been developed there, but it is always like that. I don't take it otherwise. But what happens, I'll tell you. When a baby is born in the house, the baby starts walking. And if the mom is not looking at the baby, then the baby walks to the toilet and suddenly push the flush. And the water comes out and shouts loudly, "Hey, I discovered it! The water comes when you flush it down." That's what has happened. Columbus came and there were 500 nations and he said, "I discovered America." What a big joke. How he can discover America? There were 500 nations living there. When the people went to Africa, there were 1,000 nations, 1,000 wonderful traditions of Africa. And most wise people, if you look at them, if you look at the history of Africa, 17 times the king of Ethiopia defeated the French army. 17 times, not 1, 2, 3, 17 times. Last time he was getting old and these people cheated, wrote a different agreement in French and different agreement in Ethiopian and said Ethiopian king needs the protection from French army. What a guts. 17 times defeated and they are looking for providing a protection to Ethiopian people. When they visited Nigeria or Asante or all these kingdoms, they found out that these kingdoms were more developed than the rest of the world. The philosophy was developed there. But they immediately said Africans, pagans, heathen, they don't know how to build up the knowledge and everything. And they said they need to be educated. And that's why they became our black burden of the white guy. It was so sad. We were good. We were good, so we invited them. We were good, we offered them food. And a day came, they gave us a book in our hand and took away our land. Jomo Kenyatta's famous statement is there. I don't want to say that. But so these all ancient traditions, they are facing challenges around the world. And one of the first challenges is, during the period of last 400, 500, 600 years, our generations after the generations started going away from the culture, going away from the languages, going away from what they were thinking, what was their great philosophy. They were ashamed of themselves. Even in India, in spite of such a great tradition of thousands of years, we have several people, they are ashamed of themselves. So a day was there when they used to call me a donkey, but don't call me a Hindu. That they used to say. It was just 100 years back. And now the things have changed. Because this pride, who am I? Once I know who am I, once I know what is my relation with the God, things become easy. We are young, we like the lady, we get married, we stay with the lady for, 40, 50, 60 years. One day she dies. What we do? The same lady which you are loving till yesterday as part of your life, you don't want the body in your home. What is lost? Why you don't need the body now? The consciousness has gone. Once the consciousness has gone, body is useless. So in Bhagavad Gita, they said, Vasam se jivani yatha vyahaya. The way if the shirt gets worn up, you throw the shirt. Like that, the consciousness which exists in our body throws the body and goes away. And this concept of birth and rebirth has been expressed in different ways in all the ancient traditions. And that is where we have to understand that we need to nourish the consciousness. We need not worry about our body because we are going to leave it anyway. This body is going to be useless. I am getting now 70. In another 5 years, it will be my crutches will come. And then I will be in the nursing home somewhere lying there like a pound of flesh. And somebody puts food, then I eat. If not, I am dead. Why? Body is not important. It is the consciousness. And that's why all the ancient traditions around the world thought about consciousness. They said, take care of your consciousness, take care of who you are rather than take care of your body. And that's why you'll find that this consciousness, this is Aham Brahmasmi and Tvam Tatmasi, identifying the consciousness within you and identifying the same consciousness, spirit or whatever you call it in everybody of us. But Native American didn't stop there. They went one step ahead. They said bird people. They said animal people. Everything is people because they have identified the consciousness existing in plants. They respect the consciousness exists in animals. They respect the consciousness existing in reptiles. And that once you start saying it, then you start thinking about like the Maoris thought. Maoris said, I am the environment, environment is me. If I destroy the environment, I am destroying myself. Does that make sense? Every ancient tradition has this wisdom. And this wisdom, today we are at the crossroad. We need to make sure that this wisdom does not simply exist in the books, but start practicing. Yesterday I was in the beautiful center, what our brother Baba had, and we looked at it and the way the prayers were there, the prayers for entering the house, prayer for going out of the house, and for the well-being of the people. I was meeting him first time in my life. We never met earlier. The way he was saying prayers for me, I thought, he is not praying for me as an Yashwant Pathak, he is praying for my consciousness which exists in my body. Am I right? And that is where we recognize each other as the people carrying the same spirit. And that's why all the ancient traditions around the world must come together, work together, make sure that all this wisdom has to be shared with the world. Now, in order to share, you always in Sanskrit there is a beautiful word which is called Simhavalokan. Simhavalokan means the lion, before jumping on this side, he looks back. And when he looks back, safe on the back side, then jumps ahead. That's how we think that our ancestors have to be seen, have to be part of our life, because they made us. They are the roots. They are the roots. And that's why we always say, and in African tradition it is very common, in Native American traditions it is common, if you go to Bali, in Bali every house has a temple for the ancestors. Every house has a temple for the ancestors, so each ancestor will have temple, and then it's very interesting. Whenever a child is born in the house, if the grandmother is there, she thinks, oh, he is walking like a great-grandfather, as if the great-grandfather has come back, or great-grandmother has come back. And whether we want it or not, I am influenced by my great-grandfather because he influenced my grandfather influenced my father, and my father beaten up and influenced me. Because the more beating I get, I am better influenced by my father. Very simple, maths. And then I am going to do this for another 3 generations. So every human being has impact on 3 generations before and 3 generations after. And that's why we started calling them living ancestors, because they influence us. Living ancestors and dead ancestors. In Indian tradition, when I do the Shraddha in this Sarva Pitri Amavasya, Shraddha for my ancestors, I invite my father's spirit. I say, oh father, then pick up his name and say, oh, my father's name is Vishnu Panta. So I'll say, oh, spirit of the Vishnu Panta, please come, and I will keep one pinda, we put it, one sort of food for that. Then I invite the spirit of my grandfather, Gajanan, his name is Gajanan. Then I invite my great-grandfather, Tukaram. And then I say, okay, the dead ancestor, I am from the tradition of Kashyapa Rishi. It might be 10,000, 15,000 years old, but today I know that my tradition is from the Kashyapa Rishi. I invite that spirit also. So 3 generations before, 3 generations, we are 7 generations. So I jokingly say in America that when you put the garage sale, you will never sell the picture of your father. No way. If your children say that I should put your father's picture, I will say, oh my God, get out of move. Because father, grandfather picture, no. Great-grandfather, no, because I have seen him. After that, okay, we'll use the frame. And this is how it happens. So this ancestral worship is nothing but telling you who you are, why you are here, what is the role of you in this society, in this world, and where you would like to go. And this is where every world, every tradition has come up, and believe it or not, all the traditions existing for more than 2000 years are now 2100 years, I can say. They believed in this. All this, they were like, we call it Dharmic traditions or Sanatana traditions, they call it way of life. Recently we had a conference in Washington DC, and one person, Kofi, he came from Ghana, and he was saying that our Asante traditions are our way of life. We are not religion, we are way of life, because it has to be practiced. What we say is practice. You have to inculcate those values in our life. That is way of life. It is not religion, just go to one place and do the confession and next day do the same thing again. And then next Sunday go for confession. It doesn't happen. Whatever you do, you pay here. That's what we say. And this is where the ancestors keep on reminding us, guys, be in good track. And when you remember your ancestors, this ancestral worship, what Raviji was saying, can bring all of us together. Because whether it is Maori or Native Americans or Africans or pagans or everybody, they all believe in ancestral worship. This is where we all can connect with each other. And that's why I would like to invite you all. We have been working with the ancient traditions and cultures almost since 1993. And since 2003, we have been organizing conferences where people from 40, 50 different countries come. They all belong to the ancient traditions. They all are proud of their ancient traditions. They just come together, discuss together, late night, how you are doing that. How are you training your young people in your... And lot of interaction happen. And at that time, you do the ceremonies. And when you do the ceremonies, like our sister Intu was there, 8 different traditions were doing fire ceremony. Now they come from Lithuania, they bring their grains from Lithuania. They don't want to use the grains from India. They have their earth. Our Mayan people came from Guatemala, they bring their earth from Guatemala. They say, we want to use our own thing. And this is where this ICCS conference is from 20th of January to 2nd of February. I have earnest request to all of you to see how the ancient traditions are reviving around the world, how the pride as being Yoruba or pride as being Arawak or being Carib, all these things are, you can see those proud people who are working for their own traditions, and our expectations are very simple. Learn from each other, go back to your country and revive your own traditions. Make sure that the wisdom doesn't die, make sure the languages don't die, make sure you are going to lead this world to a better world. And that is where we all should join our hands together. I think I took enough time what was allotted to me. I appreciate all of you. I am so excited to see all of you meeting again after a long time. And I'm sure a day is not that far. I'm telling you, a day is not that far. A day will come, and nowadays it is happening. In Guatemala, Guatemala's president took the oath in Mayan language. In Zimbabwe, the president took the oath in Zimbabwean language. All over the world, everybody is saying, if I am a Yoruba, I will take oath in Yoruba as the Prime Minister, whatever you want to. If I am a Asante or Kikuyu or Masai, I am going to use my language. And this is where once all these things, once we create the pride in our children that I am a strong Yoruba or I am a strong Arawak or I am a strong Hindu, I am ready to selflessly work for my own traditions, make sure if there is a need, I am ready to die for my tradition. And once we can inculcate that spirit in our children, I am 100% sure in coming years you will find the ancient traditions will resolve many of the problems of the world and the challenges too. And thank you very much for listening to me, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, in our conference we say Mitakwe Oyasin, and then everybody says, oh, Ricardo, remember that. Let us say that one more time. I will say Mitakwe Oyasin, all of you say Aho. Sound good? Mitakwe Oyasin. Aho. Say loudly. Mitakwe Oyasin. Aho. Mitakwe Oyasin. Aho. This is a beautiful saying of the Native American from this land. We are in Americas. This land says, Mitakwe Oyasin means we are all relations. And we say Aho means yes, we are all relations related with each other because we are children of the Mother Earth. Thank you.
Now, Dhirup Ji will present a book to Professor Ji. Sorry, he will be launching a book.
Namaskar to everyone. You know, it is indeed, well, words are limited in this case, but I'll still use them. An honor and a privilege to be asked to launch a certain publication here today. The name of the publication is Human Rights, Religious Freedom, and Spirituality, Perspectives from the Dharmic and Indigenous Cultures. And it has been edited and compiled by a person who we have just heard, Sri Yashwant Pathak and Adityanji. Now, both these persons, Yashwantji, he's an assistant dean of pharmacology, and Sri Adityanji is an executive medical director. But like some professionals, whilst they are immersed in their chosen profession, their heart, their soul, and their spirit is in the Dharmic tradition, is in the spiritual tradition, and inevitably, whilst they are extreme professionals in their field, it has led them to a journey, a discovery of the universality of spirit in all facets of life, and a universality of spirit that connects all of us, and particularly all of us in the ancient traditions. Now, the book is a collection of articles on human rights, religious freedom, and spirituality from different perspectives. And it is a compilation of 25 papers or articles. And in it, we have perspectives from Eastern philosophies, Sanatana Dharma, in particular also the perspectives of Sri Aurobindo, perspectives from Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, African spirituality, the Maori tradition, and indigenous spirituality and culture. So it covers a wide range of all the ancient traditions, the non-Abrahamic religious traditions and spiritual traditions. And you know what is noteworthy about this compilation is that it is very timely to all the changes that is taking place in the contemporary world. Yashwanji, when he was talking, hinted on some of the changes that are taking place. And this compilation could not have come at a better time, for it brings to the forefront for our reflection, for our attention, you know, all these perspectives that we have been given a different story about, particularly from the framework of the Abrahamic religions. And we have grown up on that. You know, the media is dominated by it, the worldview is dominated by it. And in this particular compilation, we are being treated to a different view, to an alternative view, and a view that is rooted in practicality, that is rooted in reality, and rooted in our traditions. So It does not explore the differences amongst us, but it explores the commonalities. And it uncovers the many commonalities that are there, whilst the world is busy exploring differences and compartmentalizing ourselves and fighting for space and fighting for wealth based on our differences. This brings us to commonalities where that thread that is being weaved, connecting all of us who subscribe to the ancient traditions. And as I close, before I just launch the book, in the preface to the book, the compilers says this, and I quote, "In the Western world, no one talks about the right of the non-Abrahamic religions to protect their religions and bring back their folks to their original religions, who have been converted to Abrahamic religions." And this is where the conflict starts. The quote goes on, "However, when it comes to dharmic traditions and indigenous cultures and traditions, they have very different perspectives from the Abrahamic traditions, and about human rights, religious freedom, and this is what its compilation is all about. So it is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to launch this book here in Trinidad and Tobago at this, particularly at this function. I think it is a very telling and unique occasion that Yashwanji's visit coincides with this celebration here today. And as I say, it's an honor and a privilege for me to launch this book. And if you would allow me to undo the wrapping, which is a bit substantial, yeah, I just hold this. And I encourage everyone to please try to get a copy. Jai Shri Ram.
We will now have an open discussion with the Hindu Prachaar Kendra's resident sadhu, Lakpatji.
Namaskar. The ancestral agenda. What is the purpose of the ancestral agenda? We have heard from the preceding speaker many of the items that we discuss in the ancestral agenda. But it is for us, if we think that our ancestors has left us anything that is worthwhile, anything that can help us to make our lives and our countries better, it is something we should all be grateful for. So gratitude is one of the attitude we should adopt. We should adapt to if we want to pay homage to our ancestors. Gratitude is for the legacy that they have left us, for the heritage which is important to us. If we think it is important for us, we should be grateful for that. So we have about 10 minutes to open the floor to all of you who would like to contribute and say something about the ancestral agenda, or if you have any questions to ask our featured speaker, Mananiya Yashwant Paathak ji, the floor is now open for open discussion or any questions you may have concerning what we have had and what we have done so far. I'm not going to call anybody to speak or to think. The floor is open. And I am sure you would have had questions. There must have been something that you are not clear about and you would like to have clarification. So this is your opportunity to ask our future speaker, or if you have any ideas of, or anything that you want to share with us concerning our ancestors, this is the time. Oh yes, we have somebody from the back there. Shantaji. I see. I thought you were, it was Prachaar was coming.
Can I request you? We have my elder sister, N2 Pearl Springer.
No,
Just request her to give, share the time now, later.
No, she is reading for me.
Oh, okay. She's going to read the poem. Otherwise, she can tell about Ancestral.
All right, so we have lost 2 minutes already. So, oh yes, Indira, you can come. You have to come, and we would like to have it on record. Thank you very much, Indira ji.
Namaskar. What role do you see the communication revolution, i.e. social media, the internet, playing in the elevation of pagan religions vis-a-vis the Abrahamic religions?
You know, it is very interesting that suddenly, if you see in last 10, 15 years, even the word pagan used to be derogatory. Now, it is creating pride within the pagans. They say, call us pagans. And that has been spreading around like a wildfire. Because in social media and all these new technologies, communication technologies, they are making it open lot of things which were controlled by. So now it is a time for all of us to put lot of positive things which we have on the social media. And people are doing it on a large scale. You just Google African epistemology, the generation of knowledge within African traditions, and you will find several books on it. Several books, several articles where they are saying that Western world had a monopoly about epistemology because they thought that anything which is written is true. Now the Western world is accepting that the oral traditions can be a way of generating knowledge system. And this is where the social media and all these technologies are going to be helping us. And it is a matter of time, I'm telling you again, that it is a matter of time, a day will come, most of the people who thought that we are pagan, we are heathen, we are backward, they all will come and ask us question, how to take care of the Californian fires. In America, every year you must have seen on TV, lot of fires happen in California. And now the government officials are approaching to the local Native American traditional people, elders, to ask that how you were managing these things when you were there. And now they are trying to adopt some of the technologies or techniques which have been practiced, and they may find them very useful. Same thing is happening around the world. If you go to New Zealand, it is very interesting. Any plant which is New Zealand traditional Maori medicine, if any Western company want to use it, they have to pay the royalty to the Maori people. They have to pay the royalty to the Maori people because they are borrowing your wisdom, making money and calling you people poor. That doesn't work now. It won't work. In New Zealand, people have university which is called Waikato University, where you can do PhD, doctorate in philosophy in Maori language. It is time for us to build up our institutions where we will offer PhD in Yoruba language, we will offer PhD in Arawak language, we will offer PhD in Carib language, because we have a language. It is an oral language, we'll convert it into written language. It doesn't take much time. With the computer technology and artificial intelligence now, it is absolutely very easy now that we can put a very right perspective about ancient traditions in the world and be proud of what we are. The Western world, a day will come, they were saying we are this, that, you don't know this, that, all those things. Now they are coming back to the, as I mentioned in my science background, that people are coming back to the actual truth which was realized by ancient tradition people thousands of years back. For example, I had attended a conference on transmission electron microscopy, and now we have our professor here, is microbiology professor, but they identified that 6 of the bacteria have a basic structure of 2 peptides and 1 protein. But once that structure is manipulated or manifested, they exhibit many different properties. A day will come and people will be able to identify what exactly this consciousness means. And when we say that consciousness exists in me, what is lost? And that type of research will show that the wisdom of ancient traditions and cultures, wisdom of the elders, was far ahead when there were no technologies. There were nothing. You know, in Indian traditions, our forefathers calculated the distance between the earth and sun. They calculated, long back they said that earth moves with the around the sun, and for the Western world to understand that, they were required to kill Copernicus and Galileo. You know, their thought process was to kill. If something they don't follow my tradition, kill them. That will not happen now. And this is where it's our time. 21st century is going to be 21st for ancient traditions and culture. By 2035, 2050, world will go to Yoruba and say, kindly give solutions for our problems. Because we don't know, 70% of the Americans are suffering from mental problem. Because they don't know what is consciousness. Unless you take care of your consciousness, you cannot be healthy. Am I right? Are we believe in the same thing? Unless you take care of consciousness, you cannot be healthy. So you want to be healthy. You don't want to discipline your life, you will never be healthy. And this is where it's our days now. And we are going to be up in the world, in the hierarchy, and people will come and the social media and everything will help us a lot, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure India will be much clearer now and would have realized that our ancient ancestral technology is even greater than our modern technology. All right, so our time for open discussion is up, and I will now hand you back to our Master of Ceremonies, Anjali Ji.
Okay, so now we have Miss Antu Springer to read us a poem.
Ikasa, everyone. I greet my brother Shiraviji, founder of the Kendra, my brother Yashwant Pathak, bringing back a lot of memories. Chief Barrett, Ogumbowale, my brothers, everyone, greetings. Special greetings to the PI of the First Peoples community who was in India with us and was part of the rituals and so on. I remember I want to do a short poem to Baba Sam. Our special guest will remember, as he said earlier, that he was the most popular of the attendees in India, Baba Sam. He has now passed, but we remember him because we are remembering ancestors. And it is so interesting that I know his presence is with us because a couple nights ago, this thing of consciousness, who am I? I'm God's child, put to catch the sun and rain and grow and flower for a while. I dreamt him and he was walking with us in a procession. And he had a big trunk-like thing in the vehicle. And he looked at me to say, hush. And when he opened the thing for me to see, his body was lying in that trunk, but he was walking with us. So, the thing of consciousness, it is the way I most remember him, standing high in the Himalayas. The sacred Ganges, way below, following her ancient path, hundreds of feet below, only a narrow bridge saving us from plunging down to a watery embrace. And Baba Sam invoked the ancient water spirits, powerful primordial spirits, sister spirits, Oshun, Yemunja, Gangamai, speaking the names, chanting, calling, Yoruba, Bhojpuri, and in between a little Trini. That deep, rich voice, mesmerizing in the hush of prayerful devotees. Remember that occasion? Baba Sam. Baba Sam. My brother Ravi G asked me to write something about the scourge of violence. It is widespread, especially in our African communities, among our young black youth. So I have written a piece to our God of war, who owns the weapons, for whom Ogumbowale is his name, and who is the chief Himalayan on my own head. His name is Ogun, Mighty One, God of war, you the owner of all the weapons, but loving, caring Father. You own all the weapons and use them to help your children fight against slavery, against our enemies. Let us now not turn your weapons against each other. Our land is being bathed in the blood of your children. Over the land, our people are crying out for a ceasing of the flowing of blood, of young blood, of black blood of women, even of children. Our young ones wallow in ignorance of self, lacking in consciousness of self. We call on you to use your weapons to protect them, clear away the negativity, replace it with consciousness. Let them come to know you, to pay reverence to you, and all Imale, all Orisa, all divine energies from all our peoples, recognizing still the enemy lurks, recognizing still the enslavement of our minds. We call on you, Baba. We ask your mercy. We ask your guidance. Blessings. Shanu, Shanu, Shanu. Ashe, Ashe.
You have to give me the book. That's why I stood up. So you have to show the book, what about it, and then...
I brought this book of mine to present to my brother from our Ile Shokan. But you have to forgive me because it's squeezed up in the bag and it gets separated out. But all the words still there. It's a book called African Heritage Sites in Trinidad and Tobago. It's written by me, and it talks about all our sacred places in Trinidad and Tobago. And I know you will enjoy it.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You know, I just requested Raviji to give me only 2 minutes. The reason was, we have our relatives from Suriname. And I wanted to, I had an opportunity to go to Suriname several times. I have stayed with some of us in the village called Bigi Poika, which was in Suriname. And it was all Native American village was there. So I stayed a couple of days with them. And it was very interesting. So their traditions are so similar that if I take another 45 minutes, I can tell you only the relationship between the traditions of Suriname and our Indian tradition, but I will not go there. So I was asking one of the elders in Suriname that, you know, in India, a lot of people have this question. That question was also raised by Swami Vivekananda, and he asked that question to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, have you seen the God? And that question is there in the minds of many people, and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa put a hand on his head, and then, are you prepared to see the God? And he put the hand, and suddenly he got all the shock. His body was not prepared for the... So I was talking to one of the elder from Native American Suriname, and I just casually said, have you seen the God? He said, yes, very confident. He said that I go, there is a Bigi Poika river, in the river, and I go there and I meditate, and then the river bed sometimes get a lot of fishes, and I communicate with the God through the fishes. And I was so impressed with that, because this is where you are realizing what consciousness exists between you and the fishes. And for that matter, I want to say another beautiful story. I was in Guatemala, and the Mayan people, you must have seen those pictures of huge temples. They were built 3,000 to 5,000 years back. There was no technology. So there was a great saint, and Entu might remember him. His name was Alejandro Oxales Cirilo Perez. He is now 91, 92 years old, based in Guatemala. So we were going through the Guatemalan Native American big, beautiful temple. So, you know, I am naughty right from my childhood. So I asked Alejandro, please tell me, when there was no technology, there were no equipment, movers, shakers, all those things, how the Mayan elders built these buildings? So he looked at me and he said, you won't believe me. I said, why? He said, you are educated in the Western system of knowledge. So you will not believe. You are PhD, you are useless to understand what I am going to tell you. So he made fun of me. And then finally he said that our elders our elders, Mayan elders, were spiritually so strong that they could lift those few tons of stones with their eyesight. And I said, he said, you won't believe it. I said, no, I believe it. He said, why? I said, we used to have a great saint in India, and another saint came to visit him, and that saint was very proud and very egoistic, so he was sitting on the tiger, getting into the air, all his people were coming there, and this young saint, his name was Sanatana, he was sitting on the dead wall, his 3 brothers and sisters. So he said, oh my God, great saint is coming, oh wall, please lift, and let's welcome him at the village. So he was sitting on a live tiger, he was sitting on the wall, and he moved the wall. And it is so great, these Mayan people's stories are unbelievable. My last story, which is understanding consciousness, is from a Native American tradition, because you all are from Suriname, I want to share this. There is a beautiful saying by a Native American, just remember the words. They say that it is very easy to talk to God. It is very easy to talk to God. But then he gave the process, a protocol. He said that go to a secluded place and keep on meditating about the God. A moment comes when you understand the music of the water flowing through the streams. A moment comes when you understand the music of the wind flowing through the woods, when you understand the language of the birds, they're talking with each other. And then the Native American says, best way to talk to God is keep yourself mum. The moment you start talking, God stops talking. Thank you. Just for my Surinamese brothers. I wanted to recognize.
We will now have a report from Success Village Laventil Network Oba Kitame, a report of annual planning meeting.
Namaste to my Hindu brethren, Mabrika to my First World people, Ekasa to my Yoruba people. I want to thank Ravi for having me here today. And I want to share with you all my first encounter with the African tradition. I was about 30, 40 years old. And I sat down, one morning, about 2 o'clock, in my bed in Erica Street in Laventil, I heard drums. I got up. I said, but this couldn't be the Best Village drums in the next street. Put on my clothes, and I followed my ears, followed the sound. It took me up a hill. And I found myself among some people playing drums and dancing and singing and waving cutlass, ogun cutlass, waving, and I was scared. I was scared because when I went up that hill, I took all the baggage, my Christian baggage, that told me as a child, don't go by them people. Them is devil, And I stood there in cold sweat. I was cold sweating. And a young boy he was about 18, 19, who I taught football. He came and he stood by me. I don't know if he saw the fear, I don't know if he saw the cold sweat, I don't know if he saw the real fear. He stood by me and he started pointing out, this is this and this is that. And in my fear, I saw women hugging and greeting one another and children running and the cutlass passing by the head. And I'm saying, if these people could be so comfortable in this situation, big man like you, I was about 30, 40. Why are you scared? And so many people comfortable in it. And then my fears start subsiding. And I told myself from that night, I want to know more about this. And here I am about 30, 40 years after, bringing to you a community called Yoruba Village. When the Success Laventil Networking Committee found out that east part of Spain, Belmont, Gonzales, Laventil, and Mova, some of the most maligned communities in Trinidad, was once called Yoruba Village. We set ourselves the task of renaming the community, rebranding the community. We invested in a number of agencies, state agencies, private organizations, individuals, to rebrand this community, which in the 1830s, the 1840s, was called Yoruba Village. I give you all 2 seconds to throw your mind back to the 1830s and 1840s. Where were you all when our community, Belmont, Gonzales, Laventil, Mova, was called Yoruba Village? Back then, the state, the media, the church, and the schools that the churches, that came out of the churches, labeled our women jammets and hoes. That is in the 1830s, the 1840s. The media, the state, the church, the schools, they labeled them the women jammets and hoes. They labeled our men bajons and hooligans. And they set an agenda, back then as it is now, to stigmatize our community. A community that was, from our research, from our inquiring about our community, we found out that there were, within the radius of 5 miles, there were more than 150 Orisa shrines. And we set ourselves the task of renaming our community, to the point where only this week, and I shared the letter with Ravi, we got a letter from the Prime Minister's office, a commission that was set up to look at monuments, to look at sacred spaces throughout Trinidad and Tobago. We got a letter inviting us to a meeting. We're going to tell them where we want how we want our sacred spaces treated going forward. The Orisa shrines in our community. We're going to tell them that the steel bands, the calypso, the mask came out of those Orisha yards. As a matter of fact, back in the 1940s, 1930s, there was no difference between the Orisha yard and the steel bands. They were one and the same. Today, there are every street in Yoruba village has a church. Some have 2, some have 3. What the Christians have done, they have dumped their guns, they have dumped their drugs, they have dumped their Bibles in our community. That has to change. That has to change. When there was the time for questions, I wanted to get up and I wanted to invite discussions. Most of our state policies, most of our laws in the communities in Trinidad and Tobago is based on Euro-Christian paradigms. Today, the Orisha community, the African community, doesn't have a spiritual holiday. We don't have a holiday at all, because I don't even consider emancipation. Nothing about emancipation says that it's African, except, well, African people was emancipated. So we have no holidays. We want to do something in November where we're going to tell the state we want to teach our children. The Orisha yards, you could no longer say that we are pagans, we are devil worshippers, because today Harvard University is teaching a course in Udu Ifa. So we want to teach our children. We have identified a number of individuals, organizations that can now sit and provide texts, could provide curriculum for our children. How do we change that mindset that is so Christianized, that is so Europeanized? How do we change that? I want to throw it out to the panel, but I'm sure by the time our summit, and we're calling it a summit, happens in November, we're going to have ideas as to how this whole education system has to change and make some demands on these so-called powers that be. Things have to change. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We'll now have closing statements made by Ms. Attila Springer, who is a journalist, emancipation drama production, and an international activist.
Mabrika, Namaskar, Abura Boy Aboshishe. I salute all my elders, and I give thanks for another opportunity to be here at the Kendra, doing my uncle's bidding. So, Uncle Raviji, he frequently gives me assignments that I'm never sure if I can live up to, but I'm going to attempt again. So when we think of privilege, we think of white privilege, we think of a privileged minority, we think of those born with a silver spoon in their mouths. And that's my generation. I don't know how older generations see it, but when we talk about privilege in my generation, we talk about privilege in those kinds of ways. And there's a kind of minority that I belong to, the other, the pagan, the undesirable. This is the group that I belong to. And while I struggled with being othered for most of my life, lately I found myself coming to realize that my upbringing was in fact very privileged. I grew up in a world where African spirituality was not seen as demonic. I was surrounded by babalawos and Orishas and pandits and sadhus who all gave me a sense of the world that most of my peers did not seem to have. My grandmother was the first ecofeminist that I knew, and my mother created and still creates a safe space for me to not just study in an abstract way, but to sit at the feet of those holders of ancient information. So what has happened in the course of my life is a slight shift, and people of my generation and younger are ever so slightly opening their minds to the possibility that Abrahamic religions are not the only options for African people. And as my sister Indrani brought it up, I can attest to the reality that every day I feel messages on various digital platforms from people reaching out to me for some information I would have been ridiculed for having 20 years ago. Undoubtedly, conversion has been one of the most enduring forms of violence against minds and bodies of African people and peoples of the Black Atlantic. And I think it is part of my responsibility to use my pagan privilege to be part of ending that violence. But I also want to say that in addition to reconnecting people to a personal ancestral veneration practice, there is an urgent need for ancestral appeasement. We have generations of unresolved violence in this country. And unless we address this, we cannot move forward. It's not a day of prayer. It is Ms. N2 and PI and Ravi G, with the support of us, moving through communities and showing people how to cool the energies of this land. I want to say that Ogun, who owns all technology, has given us the metal and the creativity to create new ways to remove the obstacles, both physical and mental. So now I have the privilege of sharing with those who seek me out. And I have to say that we cannot fear the possibilities that the technology gives us. We have to use it as any other tool, like the microphone, or the lights, or the building, the air condition. All of those are tools that human minds and imaginations have developed over the years. And the technology is just another of those tools. And if we do not learn how to use it, it will be used again to destroy us anew. And so let us use the technology that we have. Let us continue to connect. Let us continue to not just meet in these physical spaces, but network, meet, connect digitally and across platforms. Let us use the technology that has been given to us by our consciousness as my elder has said, and it's just been a real pleasure to meet you and to connect with you. Your wisdom is palpable, and I hope that I get many other opportunities to listen to you speak. Thank you so much for the opportunity again, Uncle Ravi Ji, who has been such an inspiration to me, and I believe also in the same way that the Panyard is a model that should be used to bring our communities more together, the Hindu Prachaar Kendra is a model that should be used and studied for us to create sustainable communities in every single part of Trinidad and Tobago. Give thanks. Have a great evening.
We will now have a resolution on ancestral agenda by Sri Raviji.
Thank you. I just spotted one of our national heroes, my elder brother. You didn't realize here, Mangal Patisar. Let us give him a hero, please. And Bhauji. Yeah. And a member from the UTT board, Mr. Michael Cooper. So good to see you here. You brought some special presents into here. I just want to make a point. I'm cheating an opportunity that in the context of the discussion here, when I was on board, the beginning of UTT, we had 2 programs that were set and accepted by the board and minuted and everything else. One was for the language that was supposed to be started at UTT for the African community. And the second was an academic course on the Ramlila performance. And these 2 things have been dumped. And as you remember, I take the privilege to ask you to look into that matter. Give him, please, a big applause so that he'll remember. A song will be coming up soon. I got the request, I didn't inform her yet, from the Suriname visitors. And this came from the chief. He's the chief of the first people. I have to accept it. Thank you. So resolution. This is not my forte about writing resolution. That kind of business, there's more senators, his sort of a work. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha, October 7th, 2023. Resolution for common cause amongst indigenous and dharmic traditions of the world in Trinidad and Tobago, for the recovery of worldviews and systems and sensitivities, for the recovery of self-esteem, and for the common welfare of the world and Trinidad and Tobago. Whereas in the course of history, and in particular in post-age of discovery, the world became divided between religions and the indigenous traditions of the world. That's around 1495 or something like that there, when that papal bull was written by the Pope Alexander. The latter became victims of destruction because of that, of lives of knowledge, worldviews and social systems and material property. Whereas their calendars and languages have been subjugated, that means the calendars and languages, let's make a point, loss of language, loss of knowledge and all those things are harsh on a people. But loss of calendar is a repository of that. So when we lose our calendar, everything comes forgotten. Whereas their calendars and languages have been subjugated, which are critical tools for developing, formulating, teaching, and understanding one's civilizational aspirations and pathways were lost. And whereas peoples across the world have been denuded of their natural civilizational worldviews, purposes of life, languages which are natural to their genius, and whereas the victim's civilization still suffer from these prejudices and abundant loss, and whereas it is imperative for communication and interaction amongst all indigenous and dharmic civilizations of the world to be one resolve and in mutual cooperation in order to recover and reconstitute our civilization selfhood, be it resolved that all indigenous and dharmic worldviews adopt a platform called the Ancestral Agenda as a common platform to inquire, understand, explore, and project ways and means to lift systems, values, and confidence of civilizational esteem in order to engage in a life in consonance with each of our own civilizational genius. And may this resolution be adopted, placed before this August Assembly at the second Ancestral Agenda meet as a gathering of first citizens, Ifa Orisa and Dharmic traditions and friends during Pitri Paksha October 7, 2023. Submitted, Raviji, Interim Chair, Ancestral Agenda. Thank you.
I just want to make a resolution that if you all can support this particular resolution of following the Ancestral Agenda, and we can share it with all the people who are participating and make sure that this will become a bridge for all of us to meet together, work together, and think together. So if you all think that this resolution can be accepted, I would like to move to accept this resolution on your. If you have say
First, we want to thank you for inviting us on this occasion. We just arrived today, so although we are very tired, it is very interesting because we hear our names a lot of times. And it is about tradition. And we are a cultural group. We are from the Karinya Nation. And I heard someone saying that there are some similarities, and so Chief Hernandez, he told me, he explained to me what this is about, and how we can show you how we, with music and so, how we do our things in our rituals in when we have our deceased one, how we do it. And we can say a lot about it, but there is not enough time, you know. But what I want to say is that we have our rituals where we guide the deceased one back to the Amazon rainforest, because that is our home, that is our house. We are from the Amazon rainforest, and when we die, our spirit returns back. And then we have our songs, in our songs, how we guide the deceased ones. And and traditionally, it is the women who do these songs, these ritual songs. But on this occasion, Peter Shobin, he is from the village Bigipoika. He will do a part of it, because we have different facets or periods when we do our rituals. From the beginning till the end, the guidance of the deceased ones and the guidance of the family. And Peter Shobin will do a part of the beginning, and I will do a part of the end. One will do a song, and I will do another song. Yes, but one song? All right, okay. Okay. So I will do the closing one when we have our end. All right? Okay. And on that part, we sing the body painting. We call it Tupurupo. That song I will sing. And then the painting begin at 3 o'clock. Topurupo kaya ko, papo pute kaya ta kowata. Waramicho, 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 Topurupo kaya ko, papo pute kaya ta kowata. Waramicho, 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 Topurupo kaya ko, papo pute kaya ta kowata. Ora oka koro koro he. Oroka koro koro he. Topurupo pe katoyano, tokayo emero, tokayo emero, tokayo he he. Topurupo pe katoyano, tokayo emero, tokayo emero, tokayo he 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 he. Thank you. Yeah.
I would like to kindly ask Srimati Rukmini Ji to please do the vote of thanks.
Namaskar to all of you, and I want to say special thanks to those of you who have come all the way from Suriname, all parts of Trinidad and Tobago, and to make your presence felt here today. I have been a member of this Kendra for more than 40 years, and I continue to be a member of the Kendra. So I want to hear a very lusty round of applause for Ravi Ji and the organizing team who has gone through all these preparations to ensure that we would have had a very successful program here today. Also, I want to say that to live in a country where you have lots of different races, we know we are in a cosmopolitan country. I had written a nation-building song to encompass all these different cultures. And I presented this song, and I was honored for this song. It was not a song. It is a song, but I would just read the words for you, which I would really want you all to have as your message before you leave. It says, Trinbago, my native land, I love you so. Trinidad is the land of my birth, and we can make it paradise on earth. With our steel band, chutney, and calypso, we are recognized all over this world. Whether your ancestor was slave or indenture, lift your heads high and walk hand in hand together. We are native Trinbagonian brothers. Trinbagonian because Trinidad and Tobago is a twin island state. So we are native Trinbagonian brothers, whether you are Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or other. Almighty God is our only Father who has put us in this land together where every creed and race could live happily together. So wake up from your slumber, O brother and sister. Let us take this nation forward together. Let us all strive to build a brighter future for ourselves, our sons, and our daughters to live here without fear, happily together. Never pull the colors of our rainbow apart, or you will only destroy God's true work of art. So let us never create divisive walls, otherwise our happy nation could fall. In this Trinbago land of diversity, we must strive to maintain harmony and dignity. Where is your pride, O fellow Trinbagonian? Where is that undying love for your nation? Stand up and fight as a proud citizen to eradicate the ills that plague this nation. So let us now make a change in the right direction. Take your education and lay the foundation so you can use your ambition and uplift your nation. That is called Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rupani. Just want to say thanks to everybody who's attending here. Some people from very far, some people close. I have family that is coming from India and the USA. So let me tell you, sit around from the public space. Otherwise, if I go home without doing that, Sujata will. So I take a little time off for that. Namaskar, thank you for your presence. So thank you all very much. This has been a program and a project outside the pale of what goes on in mandirs. In the Bhagavad Gita we are advised, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. We must engage in the welfare of all. Sarva Bhut, not only human beings, all insects and everything. That is the thing. I know I'm always criticized for these roles that I have taken, sometimes even called PNM Pandit. But the point is that I have the heart for that, but there is a Gita behind what I'm saying. There is a Ramayana behind what I'm doing. And I feel no compunctions to do what I'm doing. And today we could have the peoples of this country. Last year when we had the first ancestral agenda, the people who had come from the other faith said, this is a revolution. In a mandir, Sanatana Dharma has no fear. If we project the fear that Sanatana Dharma has. When I first was invited to go to Port Spain to speak at the Heritage Library, I had just come back, and N2 Springer sent a message for the Pandit to come and speak. So when I tell my friends I have to go and speak in this place, who invite you? Where are you going? N2 Springer, ooh, that woman is a black power woman, boy. You know, I was intimidated, and something happened on that day. I went and I spoke, and then at the end of it, she chose an Indian girl to come and say, ask the Pandit if he will eat. Because she knew very well, as a person who represented a Pandit, doesn't eat everywhere. But she could not stop but ask. She chose somebody who, of my own ethnicity, to ask, so that I'll feel comfortable. On the other hand, and this is why we have sustained our friendship in spite of all the things, I was in a quandary to say yes. But what I heard about N2 Springer, she's a real Africanist. So I bank on that. If she's a real Africanist, she must know I'm a real Hindu. And she wouldn't cross that limit. She would not cook the food in the pot where pork and beef is cooked. Up to today, when I go there, she will offer something to drink or eat, I eat. Because she wouldn't offer something if it is against my dharma. That is kind of basis I learned for several years while I walked this land doing my work with the permission of my wife. And in this context, some of my paramadhikaris, like Mananiya Professor Yashwant Pathak, is forging a kind of taking Sanatana Dharma in its path. It's an eternal path, it's a universal path, traversing all the countries, within all the people of the world, so that today India can say loudly, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. On this sound, I thank you for your presence. I invite you to have something to eat, very simple. But we don't want you to sit down and eat. I invite in the white man tradition of cocktail, murga pooch. Those who understand Hindi, murga pooch, cocktail. We wrap the roti. We're not supposed to do that, but I wanted people to meet, greet, and eat. Dhanyavad.
Before everyone exits the building, please note that you can get the roti at the back where Arvindji, Chayaji, Sandhya, Girisha, Vedananji are, and you can eat the roti to the Heritage Building. Thank you.
Hello. Just a point, you can, usually we do not eat in the mandir, so you can have your roti and go across to the Heritage Building next door, and there we will have meeting and eating.